Hey everybody, welcome to Valley Living. Hey JJ.
Hello.
Oh, I can't hear you.
Yeah, it's kind of dim. I'll be right back here.
That could be me.
Well, now it just
No, I
shouldn't.
can't hear you.
You can't
I
hear
don't
me?
know what's going on, so we'll try and figure this out. If I do that, I have an echo, so I can't do that.
So can you hear me?
I don't see anybody is in here right now, so that's okay. We can. Well, welcome to Big Valley Living. If you are in here, we haven't been live for quite some time. And so bear with us. We are getting our bearings. And if you're watching this later, thank you very much for watching the replay. I don't really know. Let's see. I'm going to tell you guys if you have any questions about like getting a colonoscopy or some crazy thing like that, let me know. But if not, I think we're just going to sort of talk about what we've been doing in our yard. I'll try and read JJ's lips since I can't hear him talking.
Can you hear me now?
Should have probably figured that out before. I didn't know you would be in here, but I appreciate being in here. Hello, Moose. Thank you for joining us. We've been working in the garden. That's pretty much been the big thing. I cannot hear JJ. Can you hear it, Moose? JJ, say something, please.
What?
Yeah. Okay, he can hear you. So, or they can hear you. Hi,
Oh,
Arlene. Thank you for coming in. Yeah,
well, you
I
probably
have
have to turn up
no.
your sound then.
It's having issues. How can we help? I can't hear the other person. I can't hear my guest. There we go. I've added you to the stage. Can you go to settings audio? Oh, it says my speakers may not be working. You know what? I wonder if I move it over here and I move that over there, it may work. Who knows? Yeah, okay. Purring lady, breast cancer patient. We're going to do this, sister. We're going to do this. For those of you who are new and haven't been here before, um, I'm a stage 4 colon cancer patient. Have been for many years now, about 5 years, stage 4. And I had what did our doctor call it, JJ? I'm going to kind of watch for you to nod until I can finally hear you. But our now talk.
Can you hear me?
Can you say something?
I just did.
No,
So you probably have to turn on your speaker or change it to whatever.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. I can't hear you, so I'm just going to talk. I have stage 4 colon cancer. Oh my gosh. Okay, praying lady, yes. Hey, not for nothing, Homestead. Thanks for coming in. And I'm glad you still have a wrench. Oh, I will be praying for you. You'll be in surgery while I'm getting my 3rd infusion treatment. So we're going to
And
do
your audio really stinks.
and
Your
I
audio.
hope you have plenty of help around the house too. And you have things ready. I know you probably do because you're really good at planning. But I will be praying for you and I'll be saying a prayer every day. Um, so one of the things we're coming here for, I don't know how often I'm going to do the Wednesdays. We used to do a thing called Hump Day Hangout. That's why I called it that today. Oh, my audio's not good either. Okay. Well, let's play this. I guess we should have tested all this out, huh? Is that
Now I can't hardly hear you.
say yes or no?
Kind of.
JJ sounds clear. JJ, why don't you take it over and I'll just nod my head. Tell them what we're doing.
Your mic is horrible.
This is Michelle.
I can't hear you at all. One thing I will tell you, it is pouring here right now. It is absolutely pouring. No, actually, I have that exact same headset right here for work, but it works, or it should work. She'll have to get it all configured, but
I can hear something.
well, I can hear you cut in and out.
Can you hear me better now?
No, it's the same.
Okay, well, I'm going to do most of the talking because I can at least hear you.
Well, we could switch.
Computers.
I could go up there and you could come down here.
Okay, hold on. Talk amongst yourselves.
Sorry, guys. All right.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, you guys, I'm here and he's going there. Thank you all. Am I a telemarketer now? Yeah, I am. Oh, goodness. Oh, man, this guy's got his computer all different. I don't want to change anything. Hi, Regina. Yeah, you know what? We'll work on this, you guys. Whoever's bearing with us at this point, God love you. And I absolutely, let's see. I'm going to go ahead. I think I can put this up here. Anyway, oh, no, go ahead, Ginger. Bring all those trays in. Ginger's planting plants. We'll be doing the same this weekend. We're going to start some seeds inside. We're having quite the storm right now. And so I don't know how to put somebody on there either.
So can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Mm-hmm. What did you do? Okay. All right, cool. Thank you. So just say one whole sentence for me.
Is that even
It's a little bit better, but did you plug in the Blue Yeti? Okay, it's up on top of my PC. Try pointing it down. Maybe that'll have something to do with it. But it is at least better. I can hear you. Praying, you sound better. Yeah, yeah. You sound far away, but I can hear you and everything, which is good. You're welcome for talking about the cancer. Yeah, I agree. JJ's not very loud. There's something about that particular computer. You guys will practice. Part of me wanted to just bring the laptop in the same room as JJ, and I decided not to, and I probably will the next time. That usually works very well. I really wish I could put this on the screen, but I do want to say that for talking about the cancer and the chemo, I just feel like it's a conversation that needs to be had. I mean, I'm getting ready to start round 3. By now, I thought my hair would have been gone. My hair is actually growing. So it's going to be gray, which is kind of cool. My niece colored it for me, and I think she did a really cool job. But nobody's talking about it, and nobody talks about warning signs and things like that. And they're not all the same for everybody. But I guess the point here is just that we have to have the conversation because it's just super hard. You don't know what you don't know, if that makes sense. Right, JJ? Right. He's playing around. So, what we've been doing, though, around here, besides treatment, which is going well, back in January, we've had a really super mild winter this year. We've had a few pretty good storms, but between the storms, we've had weather in the 60s and 70s. Hey, Derek. Thanks for coming in, and thanks for the shout out earlier. We had some concrete put down for a shed because JJ we really need a shed in the garden area for the gardening tools and things like that. So we had the shed built and figured if it's going to be there for a long time, let's put a concrete pad down. And we know a guy who does a super good job. Hey, Nanny Tam. Hold on a second, praying lady. I really wish I could bring your questions up. Okay. So yeah, oh good. Thanks, honey. Okay, so we're going to stop talking about the thing. Okay, so my toilet gets scratched up from chemo that exits. Pumice stones help, but this go round, my guess is that when we're done, we'll probably have to think about getting a new commode in the bathroom that I use. I do flush it twice, and I don't know about you, but if you have a bidet, that can help because there's extra water going in there, and you're not using as much TP, and so that's helpful. Thankfully we have a sewer system. We don't have. We don't have a septic tank. I do not know what it would do to a septic system. My guess is that it would be very rough on a septic system. Thank you, Derek. So I do flush twice, and JJ has a number 1 and number 2 flusher in case I have to run in there in the middle of the night to go number 1. And I hit the number 2 button every time just to make sure that nothing sits around. I would definitely, if you're on a septic system, just ask the people that service your system. I don't know if, or Google it. It's not ever been a concern of ours, but I have thought about that. What would we do if we lived in the country? Because you're gonna use your restroom a lot more when you are going through chemo, and when you do, there's more water, there's more flushing, there's probably going to be more TP, toilet paper. And so I would definitely check with your septic, pump people and just ask, just be sure. See if there's maybe an extra bacteria or something that you might be able to. Isn't that what they put in there as a bacteria? JJ, you had septic before.
Yeah, it eats the stuff that goes down into the septic. Yeah.
But I don't know about the actual chemo because that's poison.
I'm not sure how chemo would.
Oh, Ridex. Okay.
Yeah, like red X. Yeah, it's bacteria.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, that's probably a really good idea. Thank you, Nanny Tam. We'll get better on this one, and then if we do it in the future, it won't be such a hang up at the beginning.
So can you hear me okay now, or am I still low, or what's it doing?
You sound like it's a little bit windy, if that makes sense, but it's a little on my end, it's a little bit better, but I have to have you turned up pretty high. So if people are listening to both of us, I'm not sure. The screen you just got closest to that has the camera on it, I believe. Oh, now you sound better. You're closer to the screen. And I push my screens way back, so
Well, it's not that, but
still a little bit back and forth.
you just showed the microphone test. It says volume at 7%.
Okay. Yeah, it's still kind of going in and out. Liquid Fire. There's a product called Regina. Thank you. There's a product called Liquid Fire that can be used in septic systems, she thinks. You know what, though? I'm going to go look this stuff up. I'm going to borrow one piece of paper on your work pad, honey, and I'll take it out when we're done. That's a really awesome question.
Just don't mess up my pristine desk there.
I won't. Don't worry. I know. It's lovely. It's better than mine. It's way better than mine.
Like this on it.
Oh, yeah. You're going up and down and up and down. Okay. Septic systems and chemo. I'm going to look that up. I really would like to know the answer to that because I'm sure that's not going to be the only time I see a question like that. I get all kinds of questions, interesting questions. People are doing alternative therapies and that type of thing. I'm not to that point where I would feel confident in doing my own thing. I'm just trying to do my diet and stuff like that. Oh, Derek says that product is very strong and you cannot get it on your skin. So be very careful. Huh. Okay. Well, we heard that on the external, whatever that speaker was, when you set that down. Okay. So Gina, if you could put in there where you guys get that product, that would be super cool. And then we can find out. But that's a really super good idea.
So is the audio any better now?
Turn it down, but I can turn it down. Yes, it's way better.
I won't talk very loud.
But that is way better than it was.
That's better?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You have the Blue Yeti plugged in?
Yeah.
Yeah. 10 times, 100% better for me.
I mean, it's got to be like 10 inches so that you can hear it. And
not have feedback.
Not cutting out or anything. I'll just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
No. Mm-mm.
Okay, good.
Oh, okay. Walmart might have it. But you can even go on maybe Amazon might have it or something too. But I'd still check with a septic professional because who knows with the because if that's super caustic to your skin and then you add it to the chemotherapy, if you have breast cancer, are you going to be taking like Taxol? I think Taxol is something that a lot of people take when they have breast cancer. I do know that our cancers have way different chemotherapies. I take fluorouracil, which we call 5FU, and then they add it to other stuff. Like I always have Avastin with it. And the first time I had Fox, whatever the Fox thing was, and then now I have Iridicon, so I have Fulfiri plus Avastin. And they don't usually do that for for folks that have breast cancers or uterine cancer either. I just met a gal a couple weeks ago who had uterine cancer at the infusion center, and we talked the whole dang time. But so we're doing the treatment and everything, but really trying super, super hard to just live a normal life, right? And if we have an interruption, we have an interruption. Okay, HER2 plus Herceptin will be one drug. That makes sense. They didn't make mine either. Oh, I can hear the rain pounding on the window. That's awesome. We never get storms, you guys.
That's why I said earlier, man. It is raining.
This is awesome. I have a fire in the fireplace. Regina, I have colon cancer. Derek shared with me he's had relatives who've had it too. It's colon cancer. And about 10 inches of my colon removed and just put back together in 2017, just before Thanksgiving. And then I thought it was round 6. I get them confused because there were some that were together, but it's round 5 of chemotherapy that I'm on. And it's the second time that it's been infusion, which they put through my port. I have a port on the left side or on the right side of my chest. And so when you hear me talk about Herbert Bird's foot, that's my port. And so they plug into that and they give me all of my drugs through it. And then I come home attached to a ball, and the ball hangs. I mean, they tape it to you and everything. And you have a little sack, my ball sack, that you carry around with you. You sleep with it, everything. And that empties slowly. It just administers the chemo over the course of a little under, but about 2 days. And had this been at least, 20 years ago, I would have been in the hospital for 3 days every single time I had to go in for chemotherapy. And I am so, so thankful right now that I don't have to.
Yeah, you pretty much would have been in the hospital the whole time.
Mm-hmm. I was not given. I'm so glad you're here to ask questions about this, because I'm hoping this helps other people. And I'm not glad you have cancer, but I'm glad there's another cancer patient asking questions. I was not given an option. It was always going to go into my chest. And I'm really glad, actually, because a couple of, what was it, like 2 years ago, JJ, when I asked the doctor, when can I get Herbert Bird's foot removed? And he just looked at me like
it was last
I was speaking a foreign language. He said, "You're not going to get it removed. You have stage 4 cancer, and you're probably going to need it." So I am glad it's here, because I can go about my life. My arms are, that's a watch, but my arms are free to do whatever I need to do. And I am very active. We preserve food. I'm too active, and having it on my arm, and the idea of having it on my arm with all those tubes when I come home with the 5FU hooked to me, I would be afraid, actually. Okay, see, Nanny Tim, thank you. Each time. Oh, God, I'm sorry. I am so sorry about that. I've heard that is just super painful, the esophageal cancer. My cancer, I had some nausea. I've had stomach pain. This time I've had pain. But after starting treatment, I've actually not had it. And I wouldn't worry about, honestly, I wouldn't worry about the scarring. I don't, can you take that down a second? And I'm going to try and show you. I mean, so I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to get the camera. But you could, there's like a bump right there. I scar and bruise and everything so easily. I have scars from cutting my finger as a kid on like playing soccer or something, and I hit something wrong. And I actually don't have a scar from this. And it sits just above the level of your skin. And after it settles down and it's been installed and everything, it's not a problem. I lost about 30 pounds pretty rapidly on purpose, um, to lower my weight, about from like September through the beginning of January, which is a good thing because I think that's part of the reason that I'm responding as well as I am. I'm not carrying that extra weight, and I'm still trying to lose some because God knows I have weight to lose. I'm keeping an eye on it so I don't lose it too rapidly because that would be unhealthy. And I really need to start building my muscles because even 4 months, 30 pounds is a lot of weight to lose. And I need to make sure my muscle tone stays. Um, oh, wow, Nanny. Yeah, esophageal cancer. Um, that's just because you can't eat. I mean, it's got to be just so painful. Do you mind me asking, like, how long had she had symptoms before her doctor diagnosed her? Because I've heard that people get misdiagnosed as having GERD and just GERD and not anything else. And then, so that it burns when they eat and they have reflux and they have all these things that just makes eating almost nearly impossible. How did I lose the weight? Monjaro. My doctor put me on Monjaro, but I will tell you, I was very against it. But I went from 9.2 A1C to 6.4 A1C in that period of time. My blood sugars were great the whole time. It changed my tastes back to the way they were when I was younger. I had an aversion to fatty foods and the feel of fried foods in my mouth and things like that. And it did the same thing. And that's why I used to be a beanpole. I used to look like Ginger. I used to be so thin all the time, and I could eat anything I wanted. But the Monjaro did help a great deal. Um, Nanny, I'm sorry she wasn't. You know, I went through that, and I went through a really rough time in January. And JJ, have you ever seen me like that? So, like, down in the dumps, I guess.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's understandable.
Yeah, I just hadn't done that. See, yes, she was misdiagnosed with acid reflux. I have a friend whose roommate has esophageal cancer, and it was the same for her roommate. He had, I think that they had tried all the different drugs and all kinds of stuff, and then finally he went in for something completely different, and they just happened to notice that he had cancer. They put him on a feeding tube because he couldn't operate at first. He was in too bad a shape. They put him on a feeding tube for, I want to say, a month or two, and put him on some medications, but not swallowing really allowed him to heal. And she said that he's eating much more normally than he has in well over a year and a half. So I guess if you're a person, it's okay. Go take your call. Thank you. And I'll be praying for you on Tuesday as well. Um, if you have something like that, though, you know, ask them if it keeps going like that. Say, can you just rule something out? That would, you know, that's the worst that can happen is they rule it out, which is what you want.
Well, and
Oh,
that's all part of the battle too. You know, you want to know it's not something as much as you want to know if it is something.
yeah. And hopefully you find out it's not something.
Well, that's the
Your
goal.
polyps were benign. My
Yes.
polyps, he kind of knew when he saw them. Regina, that you say your mom had lung and liver cancer. Um, when I when I found out that my cancer had come back, it's in a thing called the omentum, which I'm just going to generalize it to my understanding. I'm just a patient. I am not a doctor. I'm not a medical professional. But, and this is not medical advice. This is just an open discussion between friends, honestly, you guys. Um, when it came back, my fear when I look at my numbers is always that it would be in my liver or my lung. I know I would fight it. I know that. But that would scare me so bad. And so seeing that your mom had it in her liver and lungs, that is actually my biggest fear. Hey Mitzi, how you doing? I just, I was just answering questions today and Mitzi was in there. Mitzi's a survivor. Um but yes, Derek, never be afraid to ask your doctor questions. And also, I'm going to say, do not be afraid to seek a second opinion. That first doctor I saw, I've told this to everybody. I've said it on videos. I would be dead if that lady had been my doctor, had she been my oncologist, because everybody in that room was a number, and she had no bedside manner. And the doctor I have is 180 degrees different from her. He explains everything to you. He asks if you have questions. He lets you record him so that you can listen to your meeting later and take notes. And I have most recordings from him. Thank you, Mitzi. And you are in mine as well. Um, yeah, you just never know. But if if you think that maybe you're not getting the treatment that you want or something, it's within your rights to ask for a second, a third, a fourth opinion. And I am even, because of the way things worked out, my doctor wanted me to have a specific surgeon. That surgeon was not in our group plan that we had through work. So he put in a request through our insurance company and said, "Hey, I would like this surgeon to take care of my patient." They approved it like super fast. Like I had a colonoscopy, it was diagnosed, they made it like stat, so it was diagnosed real quickly. And within 1 month, huh? Because I went in like at the very end of October 2017 and had surgery on November 17th.
Yeah, you were within month. It went fast.
It did. It did. So you guys, that is a big, big, big deal. And Mitzi, yes, keep doing those scans. But just keep asking. Don't, and I know when you live in the country, it's probably different. We do have choices here, but you'd be surprised that living in the city or a more urban area, you'd be surprised at the lack of doctors that we do have to treat everything that's going on. But I do have a really good doctor. And so my surgeon said, "This is the oncologist I want you to see, but I don't think you're going to need chemotherapy." So I said, "Okay, I'll keep that in mind." I wrote his name down. And then I went to the oncologist that was assigned to me through my insurance company. Because at that point, I was only seeing the surgeon because the doctor had said, "Hey, I want you to see this gal." So then we go to the person assigned to me, and I walk in. My surgeon told me, "Hey, you've got stage, or oh, we got everything. It's not in your lymph nodes. I'm not worried about it. I don't think you have to have chemotherapy. Just don't eat meat for about 5 or 6 weeks and you'll be golden, or raw vegetables or seeds or pretty much anything but mashed potatoes.
Yeah, because you had to have yourself, you know, you had to heal.
Super, yeah, you had to keep everything so that everything that was stitched back together would heal. And so we went and saw that lady, and she comes in the room and says, well, you have stage 2 cancer. She doesn't even introduce herself. Well, you have stage 2 cancer. And when she said that, we both looked at each other. I think we both started like crying, not bawling, but our eyes were watering. And we heard her out. I don't think we asked very many questions, did we? Except, when am I supposed to start and what do you recommend?
Here's how it went down.
From the
She
from the
came
husband's
in.
perspective.
She came in and she said, "Oh, well, you have stage 2." And it's like, okay, well, we thought it was still maybe 1, 2, okay? But then she brings out this chart thing and says, "Well, right here it says that this is what we're gonna do." And I'm like, "Yeah, this ain't gonna work for me. I need somebody that says, 'Hey, you know, I've got a little bit of uh,
Experience.
experience with this, and I've tried these different things, and that works okay for this, and doesn't work okay that way. So I think if you take this approach or whatever." But it was just like, "Oh, we're gonna do this." I'm like, "Guess what? We're not."
So then we went back home that very day and got in touch with my insurance company, our insurance company, with the doctors, made an appointment with the oncologist that I have seen the whole time now. It took a while to get in because he's the head of oncology, which he still is. But luckily for me, I don't know if he's taking new patients, because he used to see patients 3.5 days a week. Now he's down to 2 days a week. And I have a feeling I'm very, very lucky that I'm still getting to see him, because he's as administrative as he is the other. But my infusion nurse did share with me, she said he'll never not see patients, because he wants it to
Part of
be
it.
relevant to him. He wants to be a doctor as much as he is doing what he's doing. He's trying to make changes, and positive changes. You guys, just don't take no for an answer. That's my advice, really.
And
So
if you don't agree with something that they say, then you bring that up and you say, "Well, I don't understand. That doesn't make sense."
and
Because I'm very
we're not a
logical.
child. You're a customer.
Yeah. And I'm very logical. So if it's not logical to me, we got to go through it. And that's just it. I mean, I have to feel comfortable with what's going on. I didn't go to school for this stuff, but if it doesn't make logical sense to me, it ain't happening.
Yeah. And if we don't have any other questions, I'm going to go and get a little bit lighter here. So, I put out like 5 videos in a row about the colon cancer. And because I wanted to update, I expected, honestly, you guys, I was so scared. I said accepted. I expected so many things to be happening by now, which I am knocking on wood, thanking God, and so glad that they haven't happened at this point. I do have different medications, which I still believe are making a difference in the nausea in a good way, and the other end in a good way. They make me a little more tired, but I am able to space them out because the nausea effect is that it's that good. So, in fact, I'm skipping a little bit right now because I know that when I take my next one, I'm going to be like zonked out while the news is on. Um, but so we're living our life, right? Big Valley Living had a lot more meaning than everybody knew when we first came on. We were sharing recipes to make sure that we're kind of like the gathering house for the family in town. So we were sharing recipes. Nanny, no, no. My job requires far too much concentration than than I know I'm going to be capable of. And I do get tired and I do need frequent mental breaks. JJ's nodding. When we found
She
out,
may seem like she's all together here, but not all the time. You
cumulatively,
got to kind of rein her in, try to focus a little. It's okay. But
it's good to have you on here because you see me from your lens and I'm just happy go lucky Michelle in my
well,
head.
because I mean, you're really squirrel, and then
I'm that way anyway.
go, and then they're, and yes, but it's enhanced quite some.
The other day he told me I sounded like some drunk chick that he picked up at a bar with no filter.
Well,
Mitzi,
yes,
yes,
you
it
did.
is.
So
Chemo brain
I'm
is a
just
real thing.
truthful. But
Chemo brain is a real
chemo
thing.
brain is definitely a real thing,
And the
and you
more
don't
you
have to.
go through it, the more you go through it, it does take a toll. It takes a little bit of a toll on your personality. It takes a toll on your physical abilities. I used to be able to get up at, 5:45 in the morning, be in the shower, out of the shower, fed the dogs. I don't like breakfast, never have, never will. Get my coffee ready, grab everything I want, have the dogs outside to take their good old break for us to leave for work, be in the car and be to work within 1 hour. Now it takes me an hour to gather my towel, my washcloths, everything I'm going to wear, lay everything out, go in and take my shower, brush my teeth. My hair's short, thank goodness, because that doesn't take much to dry. It takes me an hour just to do what used to take me about 20-25 minutes. And I have permanent neuropathy in my feet from chemotherapy, from the fox part of the full fox. And so I don't feel my feet. I know they're there and I feel the pressure and I know that everything's fine because I have to put cream on them twice a day and inspect them and wash them, but I don't feel them. And so imagine being like a toddler, when they're first learning how to walk and it's like, that's how I am all the time in my head. I have to think about it. Oh, good, Derek. That's very rare. No, well, no, they're not. Not with this treatment, but they are getting numb. They're starting to get a little bit numb. My fingers. Nanny Tam's question, if you're listening to a podcast, which I think this will turn into a podcast, I need to keep that in mind for people who are listening. The question was, are your hands and fingertips sensitive to cold? I'm so glad we're here amongst friends, you guys. You are helping me more than you'll ever know. They are not sensitive to cold, but the last treatment, the last infusion I had, I could not touch anything that was like room temperature without it feeling like that Christmas Story, that movie where the kid you got double dog dared to put his tongue on the frozen pole. That's what everything felt like to my hands back then, and my arms and everything else. I couldn't drink anything that wasn't warm. Warm cherry Kool-Aid is not bad. I'm just going to tell you guys that.
And it was like 110 degrees, and she didn't want to grab the handle to open the door on the car
And that
because it
was
felt so
120
cold.
degrees.
Yeah, and it was, so she had gloves, and yeah.
I wore cotton gloves all the time. I couldn't touch the dirt to garden. In fact, I haven't truly gardened until this year because that was such a bad experience and it felt really weird on my fingertips. And right now, my fingertips are numbish and I don't have all my finger prints anymore. They diminish every time. And by the time I'm done with this chemo, I will have no fingerprints for probably, if it's like the past, 3 to 6 months. So then you have to be careful about grabbing glasses. We lose a lot of dishes near the end of chemo, unless JJ does the dishes. Or unless I should probably get a pair of grippy garden gloves, actually. Grippy garden gloves, that'd be a good shirt. Because those might help me actually hold on to stuff when I'm drinking water. Yeah, Mitzi, people don't understand that the effects continue after the treatments. The neuropathy in my feet will never go away, but I am really considering going and getting what do they call it when they stick needles in you?
Acupuncture.
Acupuncture. Has anybody ever had acupuncture or acupressure in the chat? Or if you're listening to it later, could you put it in the comments? I'd love to know what. I'm not afraid of needles. I can't be afraid of needles, but I am not against Eastern medicine ideas. I'm still not there on taking the horse meds. Not there. My sis, wait, my sis, okay, Nanny made her sister a yogurt parfait. She couldn't hold the cup because it burned her hands like a freezer burn. That is exactly like that's one of the drugs that she probably had, because it is they warn you about it. So what I'm curious about,
I'm with you, Derek.
well, you'd be a bad patient. Nanny, what I'm curious about is once it hit her mouth, what happened? Because I accidentally took a sip of room temperature. Oh, it was coffee. I remember it was coffee and had been sitting out on the counter for a while. So it wasn't cold. It didn't have ice in it or anything. It just wasn't warmer than my body temperature. And I
Room
took a sip
temperature.
of it and I thought I was my whole throat seized up. They warned me about that, but I didn't realize that even not being iced, I didn't realize that that would happen. So I'm curious as to whether or not that parfait ever made it to her mouth. And because that was, for me at the time on that medicine, it was the same. It was interrelated. Oh, good. Hey, I'm so glad you're back.
So you might want to talk about what you're going to do with the channel.
Oh, let's talk about that. Yeah. Okay. So Big Valley Living. Okay. So I'm probably going to do a little hashtag living with stage 4 colon cancer or living with stage 4 cancer in general. I'm going back to what do we do? But we're doing a lot of gardening right now. We got that concrete poured. JJ, one of the biggest reasons JJ wanted to have concrete poured where he did is that I now have physical access because of my neuropathy. I have physical access now to walk a full circle from the front of the house, around the front yard, through the garden area, through the backyard, and back around again to where the driveway is. So if I have to get exercise and I can't go out for a walk because it might be not convenient for me to be out walking the neighborhood, I might need to be closer to the house for various reasons. He might be working, but I want to get exercise. I can even take the dogs and they'll be happy just on their leashes walking from the front yard because we're not fenced in the front and I don't want them to get hit. I can walk the dogs round and round like a track. So, and I can drag a wagon with me and a wheelbarrow. So this concrete we had poured is going to help my mobility and help me have confidence to live my normal life as normal as possible. So we planted, we just had our 30th wedding anniversary. Happy anniversary, sweetheart. Instead of him buying me a dozen roses for some absolutely ridiculous price, I said, drop that amount by a third and let's spend that on roses for the yard. So we planted 7 rose bushes.
Yeah.
And they're all different colors, but they're the cut rose kind. They're not we have floribundas, and if you know what those are, you know they're a pain in the rear end. They just take a lot of deadheading, and so we do have them and we like them, but they're not what we planted. But we got yellow, white, red, Then we got various roses that have the little tips in different colors and things like that. Thank you, Derek. Thank you guys very much. Um, and so then we also put out, I'll get through this and then I'm going to come back because I see questions. We put in Spanish lavender, and we put in rosemary, and we already have a wine barrel in front that's an herb garden that has dill and chives and cilantro, which is bolting already. And
fennel and all kinds of stuff in there.
We don't have fennel yet, but that's a good idea. I think I might put that in. Happy anniversary, Gina and Derek. That's awesome. 27 years. How did you deal with that, Regina? I'm just kidding. Okay, so I'm going to come back a little bit. I'm being asked, is my neuropathy permanent? Yes. Yes, it is. And it's exacerbated actually by having type 2 diabetes. But it was not brought on by the diabetes. It was brought on by the 10th treatment of the Fox. Do you remember, JJ? I don't know. I'm going to look it up real quick, you guys. Google. I love Google. But it is permanent. However, I will say that I'm taking what's it called? The thing I take at night. Magnesium with glycinate, and it has to have glycinate in it to make it bioactive or something like that. My neuropathy makes my feet feel like wood that doesn't bend, even though I can see my toes bending, and really cold all the time. No matter how hot my feet are to the touch on the outside, they're freezing cold. This magnesium I take at night, it takes away the feelings of anxiety. It helps me sleep. And yes, I talked to my doctor about it. And yes, he said, yes, that's a good idea to take it. And my feet are warm from the inside for the first time, literally in years. So I will not go. I have it after dinner, and then it just starts to calm me down. No, I don't feel high or anything like that. It just helps my body to sleep better when I do go to sleep. Okay, so let me go back up and make sure we didn't. I think as long as Nanny had a comment or a question up there, JJ, and I just want to go up and make sure. Mitzi, I'm putting in spearmint. I grew peppermint, and I'm going to put some in. Yes, because now we also have our freeze dryer, which is one of the reasons we got a freeze dryer too a few years ago. And I'm going to freeze dry those things. And I think I planted sage, and I don't use it a lot. It's a beautiful plant, and it feels really cool, like lamb's ear. But I don't use it, and I should, because we really like poultry seasoning, and I think sage is a big part of that. Maybe we could put sage in our homemade bread, JJ, when we do that.
We can put
whatever we want. Mitzi, thank you very much. I will keep that under advisement, and I'll just go out and plant some. We have the greatest growing season here, so I'm really lucky. And no, if you get the neuropathy, can you go down to Purring Lady's comment? So the question is, the comment, I've read that chemo can cause neuropathy. I was hoping it would be reversed once chemo is over. In my case, it's not over. And in my case, I was told that it wasn't going to be reversible. That, all of that being shared with you, it does feel better with me. I've only taken this magnesium for 6 nights now, and it has already made a difference. And I'm really hopeful about that. So I'll report on that on a fairly regular basis. And I'm not giving any kind of medical advice, but I'm just telling you, the infusion nurse suggested I try it. I asked my doctor. She said, ask doctor about it. I asked him. He said, absolutely. It's not, doesn't have contraindications or anything like that. And already it's made a difference. So I'm super hopeful, super hopeful. And I also love ginger. I love you too, Ginger. But I love ginger, so I don't mind eating ginger for nausea and trying to keep it away. And I do actually have dried peppermint tea. Okay. Yes, Derek, that was another thing. Cramps and cramps are a big side effect from this. And that was another reason to take the magnesium. And I'm taking 400 milligrams and it's doing great. So there you have it, guys. Somebody who doesn't even have that, um, who's not going through chemotherapy, and let's just hope it stays that way forever and ever. He's taking magnesium and it's helping. So I love these conversations. I really do. Thank you, Ginger. I don't feel like one sometimes. My head's as hard as a rock, isn't it, JJ?
You have no idea. It's like um, Play-Doh turned into granite. I'm just kidding.
Look around you. Be kind. There's bees all around you. Be kind. Okay, so gardening. So we got lots of flowers going, lots of herbs. I'm getting ready to plant vegetables inside. We got the green stalk seedling kits. JJ's the man. Shut up, Leo. Um, I have a set of shelves we got at Home Depot that we're going to put up in my office to what it would be on JJ's in real life to his right, but to his left on the screen. That whole wall is going to be about 4 feet long and 6 feet high of indoor growing. And that'll make the fish happy too, because I'll have more plants in there. And thank you, Derek. Derek said, thank you, Michelle. We're praying for you. So we're going to plant what are going to be outdoor seeds from, we're going to start with some seeds we've had for 5 years. Because like I told you guys, once I couldn't touch dirt anymore, I gave up. I gave up on gardening, which is a huge part of my joy and my being. I love digging in the dirt. I don't like wearing gloves. I love picking up the worms and the ladybugs. So you're going to see more videos of my bugs. You're going to see more videos of me planting things. I'm just taking random things when I'm out in the garden and I'll put them together. The flowers, I'm putting together new thumbnails by putting flower arrangements together. And I'm teaching myself how to make like a library where I can use these things in my thumbnails that are original to me. One of my YouTube friends said, hey, dude, I'm not really into the peace thing. But if you always say be kind and you live kindness, please make some be kind stuff. So I'm going to be making some things that are positive in nature, and some will be funny in nature. But I hope to have lots of pictures of our flowers and garden and stuff as a part and a component of some of the fun things we make. And I love reading, so I'm going to make some bookmarks. Thank you, Nanny, very much. Everybody's in my prayers too, you guys. Prayers really work. I don't care who you are. And even if you're not a religious person, positive thoughts to the universe are prayers to something.
This is our hope too, Mitzi.
Yeah, thanks, Mitzi.
It's our hope.
Okay, so Mitzi, did you keep him? I've got him in a dark place. We've had him in a nice dark place in one of those like photograph things. We have a winter garden thing and a summer garden thing. And I'm just hoping that by keeping them protected and dry and everything else, that they don't know the difference. JJ, can you pull up the question from Purring Lady at 456? Because there's a question here. Okay, I like the way you put your little raising your hand. I love it. I understand that one of the pre-chemo drugs they give you is a steroid. Did I gain weight with it? Water weight. Okay, yes, they give you the steroid right before they give you that. It's my understanding that it prevents diarrhea. It's my understanding that it also is sort of like a, kind of like they also give me Benadryl. to prevent having an allergic reaction to the drugs going into my system. And they've done that. They've always done that with infusion. I think the weight gain from steroids, I lost 7 pounds in 4 days last week. But then when I started feeling, when I wasn't running to the restroom a lot, I started gaining a little bit of it back. I've gained 4.5 of it back, but I think it gives you cravings. And the worst part is it gives you cravings for the things you should not be eating. It gives me cravings for chocolate, it gives me cravings for sugar. I don't normally like stuff like that. We don't even buy cookies and stuff, and we rarely make them. I made brownies, I made cookies for JJ, but who ate most of them? And I've got to stay away from it because sugar feeds cancer, and I know it. So I'm trying to eat my blueberries and my fruit, and JJ makes a wonderful smoothie. So to answer the question, did you gain weight with it? Yes. And I gained 50 pounds when I had my first chemo. I'm more aware of everything now. And that's the weight that I lost when I took the Mounjaro because I couldn't get it off. And then what was the only, there was another question in there, JJ. Let me go back up. And no, I don't think it was water weight because I am constantly in the restroom. No, it was food weight. It was food weight. However, my ankles swelled really bad. And right now my ankles are as narrow and lovely as they were when I played soccer every day. So, drinking a lot of water and making sure, I don't know what all is happening right now about my diet, but something right now is going right. And also that's another reason that I'm not working, because when I work, I have to sit or stand at a desk for like 9 hours a day. And that definitely, even with support socks and all that kind of stuff, my ankles still got to be really big, like the size of my calves. And you press in on them and the water wouldn't go away. So that's another reason I can exercise more when I need to. No, I have not tried cold capping. Thank you, Derek. The question here is, did I try cold capping to save my hair? No, I didn't. I got it cut short. I didn't even ask about it. I see people cold capping who have breast cancer, and they are cold capping in the infusion center on occasion. Some do, some don't. I don't go to the same appointments on the same days as the same people every time because we all have different schedules. But I can't tell you if that even works. I would have to ask and defer to somebody who either watches this later, listens to this podcast or something, who's gone through it. But I will say that breast cancer patients are cold capping. And those are the only people I see cold capping. So it may have something to do with being effective with those particular medications. And in this case, I would wholeheartedly refer you to your doctor and your medical team to ask them what they think, because they've probably seen it numerous times. Nanny, we're not talking about radiation at this point. I've only had to go through that once. I will not say that it was completely unpleasant, but it was certainly not pleasant. And I was surprised with the long-lasting side effects of that. I felt like my back was breaking after I had been done with it for 6 or 7 months. My back hurt really bad at the bottom. And then I found out that you get micro cracks in your bones. However, if you walk, that's the best weight-bearing exercise, according to one of my doctors, is walking. And by walking, it helps your body to heal itself. And now, how many years has it been since I've had radiation, JJ? 4? Was it 2021?
3 or 4, yeah.
My back feels a lot better, just so you know. So the walking around and making yourself walk really does help. But I will say that this is the first time I've gone through chemo without having a surgery prior to it, because this time the cancer, My doctor told me it looks like buckshot. There's 1 or 2 or 3 spots of it that are about 1 to 2 centimeters big. But then there's all of these little dots all around it. And it can't be operated on at this point. So we're going to see what the chemotherapy does. I had a PET scan right before we started chemo, literally days before. At the 3-month mark, we're going to get another PET scan, and we're going to see if the bright lights fade or, dear God, go away. Some of them go away. And so we're kind of playing it by ear, because now I'm 5 years into stage 4 cancer, which a lot of people haven't even lived this long. So I'm eternally grateful. I'm grateful to God. I'm grateful to family and friends. I promise I'm not going to cry. I just joined a cancer support group for the first time, because when COVID was going on, we didn't have those. And that is incredibly helpful. And I've only been to one session. But we all understand each other, and having conversations, whether it's on YouTube or whether it's with someone you know, or you have a group around you, I can't tell you enough. Wait.
Anything's possible.
Oh, okay, so she already knows. So the person asking about local infusion, and Purring Lady, I'm only doing that because I'm reading in case of a podcast. Her local infusion center doesn't offer cold capping. She's kind of bummed. Oh God, waist length hair. Oh, okay. So I would say get in touch with a cancer group. Okay, get online, find a support group. Maybe there's somebody who can provide that for you or lend it to you or whatever. I wouldn't give up because your infusion center doesn't offer it, because there might be a private organization that could help you. So please check that out, and please let me know how that goes. I would be very curious. Will they try any experimental treatments for you? And I think we're going to give this 8 more minutes. I want to try and keep it around an hour, so I'm just letting you guys know. Will they try anything experimental? So late stage cancer, colon cancer, colorectal cancer, to my knowledge, they haven't used immunotherapy. And I think there are different drugs by different names, but immunotherapy apparently uses your own body to build cancer antibodies, to just simplify it, to fight the cancer. But late stage colon cancer is still in the experimental phase. Honestly, this is the second infusion cocktail I've gone through. They've changed one of the drugs. I'm nervous about the drug they changed to, because it emphasizes the possibility of stroke, possibility of heart attack. I'm in my late 50s. Those are already things I, think about. And that's kind of given me a push to exercise more, eat better things, stay away from that sugar. As bad as I crave it, I've got to get it naturally. And mint, there's ginger, all kinds of things are sweet. I just have to get my taste buds back into that. But if they were to offer something experimental after traditional treatments have been exhausted, I would not say no. But we haven't gotten there yet. I'm hoping that maybe various things we take on creates a long period of remission. I am an eternal optimist, and I will keep focusing on good, kind things in the world. And I imagine my pink body on the inside with no little bright green icky spots. I'm going to share this with you guys. When I wasn't crying, I wanted to, because after you have chemo, a few days after chemo, you pretty much are tied to the restroom, and you just can't get up. It's like, why bother? I should just sleep in here. And JJ said, just keep in mind that along with that chemo leaving your body, it's sweeping that cancer out with it. Keep that in your head. And that has really been that's been a saving thing for me. You're welcome, right? Drops mic.
Drops
Uh,
mic, walks off.
but we would be open to experimental things if it got to that point, because at the end of the day, at that point, honestly, what would I have to lose? But
Yeah,
again, I
I
don't.
I outright asked the doctor. So after we go through this,
What's next?
do we still have tools in the toolbox, right? So he said yes, we have tools. So I'm like okay, fine, but you never know when that toolbox gets empty.
And I
When
take one treatment and one day at a time. I have to.
that's right.
Every day when I wake up is a new day. Every day I say a prayer every day. If I ate a cookie yesterday, well, I don't have to have a cookie today. If I didn't have a smoothie yesterday, well, I'm going to have a smoothie today, right? So every day is a new day. I'm not going to beat myself up, and I'm going to be thankful that I'm here every day. And what do you always say, JJ, about the present?
Hey, it's like Christmas every day. The present.
The present is a
Can't
gift.
do anything about yesterday, and can't do anything about tomorrow. But I only have today.
Now you're cutting out right at the end.
So
That's kind of funny.
I said I can't do anything about yesterday. I can't do anything about tomorrow. I can only deal with today,
Yeah. I
and
don't
that's
know.
the present.
Maybe you scooted back or something. That's so weird. You were so
Maybe
clear.
is that better?
So, there's a comment here that I'm amazing. Okay, that humbles me. Don't. I'm just me. But thank you. Um, but you guys, there's nothing to do but to fight. There is nothing to do but to be positive. And I have my down days, and I will play that sad music, and I will sit there and blubber and cry. And I have no apologies about it. But once I'm done, I'll get up and go do something, whatever that something is. I will get up and do something. And I don't know if you guys are animal lovers or what. I have two dogs who are, yep, laying right there on my lazy boy that I try not to use too much. Um, they are, when JJ is not there, those two dogs, they could be up, they would be on my shoulder, wouldn't they, if they could? Like, they
Mhm.
do not leave my side, and I don't know what I would do without them. Thank goodness they're only 9. But they make me get up and feed them. I mean, I feel responsible for them. I feel responsible to make sure that my husband has nutritious meals. And if I needed help, if I needed something, he would totally step in and do it. But I am trying to do all of my normal things because I do have this time away from work, and I can focus on my health. And every time I get up to put something in the washer, put something in the hamper, put something in the dryer, hang clothes outside to dry, it's movement, it's activity, and I feel like I'm a productive member of the household. I like that. One day, I have to read this out loud in case someone's listening. One day the devil came and whispered in my ear that a storm was coming. I whispered back into the devil's ear, I am the storm. Oh my gosh, I love that. Devil equals cancer, and cancer needs to be afraid of us. Yes, ma'am. If you if you ever want to come on here and talk about this with me, I would be honored. I can send you an invitation. And if you don't want to get on there and do that, I can still send you an invitation if you want to just get on and talk through StreamYard without it being recorded or on YouTube or anything. We could do a face to face because we've been around each other for many years, and I don't want you. You have got the right attitude. I'm telling you right now, it's all here. 99% of it. I didn't think I'd be alive now. In 2017, I thought I'd be dead by 2019. And by 2021, I thought I would be dead by 2022. It's 2025, and I'm like, oh, heck no, I'm not giving up. Mm-mm.
Just remember, none of us are getting out of this alive. That's it. And you got to live your best while you have the chance.
That is true. The comment here is I'm always hesitant to speak about cancer to others because my mama and several other family members didn't survive it. And she likes my attitude, honesty, and loves me. I love you too, and you're welcome for this. Um, I just feel like, cancer is too prevalent. Breast cancer, colorectal cancer, all of it. It's too prevalent not to have the conversation. And no one talks about the side effects. The side effects suck. They suck really bad. There are things I do now that I used to make fun of old people for doing, but it saves my dignity and it saves
Right.
my sanity. And 4 years ago, you wouldn't have caught me dead doing some of the stuff I do now. But now I'm like, well, when I go to the store, I'm not going to run out of the store, or hope to God I don't run down the hallway or the aisle and embarrass myself where I can never go anywhere again, you know, because that I lived that and I'm not going there again. Love and Tender one, yes, all side effects are horrible. They are. But there are things we can do. And yes, you know what, Praying Lady? I'm thinking that there's a definite, really fun card in this with the storm. Some lightning coming down. Uh, no one likes to talk about cancer because it's scary. Like you can pass it on. That's right. We can't pass it on. It's not contagious, but people are afraid of it. And I'm hoping to remove the stigma a little bit. I was afraid of cancer when I didn't have it. My mother in law came to live with us and she had cancer, and I was deathly afraid I was going to do something wrong. And I didn't, and he didn't. So, and we didn't catch it from her. He's sitting right where my mother in law died in our home. But I wouldn't have taken that back for $1 million to have the time that we had with her. And we live right between where my sisters in law, her daughters lived. And so we were the center point, and they came here. And where JJ is right now, literally is sitting where her bed was. And I wouldn't trade that experience for the life of me. And that's another reason we do this channel, because when we had to turn her and we had to help bathe her and we had to change her sheets, we went on YouTube. This was 2014 and 15.
Yeah,
When
that
we
was
went on YouTube, we couldn't find out how to how to move somebody with the sheet and flip them over so that it wasn't uncomfortable. And the hospice people um, tried, right? But she went downhill so quickly that, of course, everything happens in the middle of the night. Everything you need help with happens at 1:30 or 2:30 in the morning. It doesn't happen at 2 in the afternoon when you feel comfortable calling somebody for help. Don't you think, honey?
oh yeah. Well, a lot of it was in the middle of the night, and you know, YouTube was really helpful when
Mhm.
we had to turn her, or we had to change bedding, whatever. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was really helpful.
yeah. And Mitzi makes a comment here. There are so many things she can't do anymore, and some things that take 5 times as long. There's the grace that you give yourself, Mitzi, right there. Give yourself grace, even if you don't have something like this. You slow down, but keep on keeping on. But in all cap, the old body is gone, but in all caps, but I am alive. And I keep that in mind. And that's where being positive and being thankful and having gratitude for what good we do have. And there's something good in every day. There's something good in everything in the world. There are sucky things, but there are also good things around every corner. Be somebody's rainbow. Um, and yes, you find out you're stronger than you thought you were. Love and Tender, you are so correct. So we have another survivor in the room here. Um, Nanny, Tim, you always hear when someone is diagnosed with cancer, it will go one way or the other. sometimes give in a pass very quickly. Oh, give in and they pass very quickly. And then sometimes you warrior. And so, yes, I hope to be a warrior. I did not feel like it in January. I had a few days of unwarriorness, but then I put on my warrior helmet, and here I am. Life gives you 10%. 90% is what you do with it. And you got this, Michelle. Thank you. And so do you. That's right. Do not give your breast cancer more than 10% over you. You know, work with it, work with your doctor, work with your team, and stay engaged with people. And if you can't read, because my eyes get really bad when I'm on chemo. And now they're going to be super light sensitive. I don't think I haven't put a video out yet, but I will make a video this week where I take a snippet out that JJ took of me when I was, what was I, baby? I was a garden ninja, cancer garden ninja.
That's what I called you, the garden ninja.
Because I'm all battened down with my sunglasses on, because even light in the house was actually hurting my eyes that day. And so yeah, just do what you got to do. Hey Tom, how you doing? Thanks for popping in. We will not give up. None of us is going to give up. And we've got a pink warrior in the room. You go, girl. Seriously. I'm so glad Tom's here. Tom is a huge survivor. If you haven't listened to our podcast together, that was eye-opening, because bladder cancer is not a joke. Not a joke.
It speaks gold.
Go, Tom.
Right there.
So, you guys, everybody stay strong. Oh, okay. So, purring lady, my eye doctor warned me that chemo can increase her chances of glaucoma. Have I heard that? I have actually not heard that, but I have type 2 diabetes. So I go in for a diabetic eye check once a year, and my eyes are doing great. They're doing great. So I hope they stay great. But see, again, it could be the chemo you're going to be on. And maybe that depends on which chemo your doctors settle on after they do their pathology. So I'm going to ask you to do this, though. When your doctor prescribes everything, ask your doctor and maybe their nursing staff or your infusion staff, ask them to get printouts for you. And if you want, ask them to make the print large. I purposefully did not go to Dr. Google or any of the web links or any of that for a long time. I chose to listen to what I was being told. I did go out and look at a few things, I won't lie, but I didn't go down any rabbit holes. I am going to put my trust in the professionals that I have chosen, because they are my chosen team. So I highly suggest getting the information from them first, digest it, make notes. Then if you go online, if you see something different online that you see on what they gave you, because they're going to give you stuff straight from drug companies and studies and all kinds of stuff. I have got a lot of, where's my hand? I've got a lot of paper about these things, side effects, what to expect, when to go to the doctor, when to call the emergency room, all of it. And I'm going to tell you right now, write it down and ask your doctor. And my doctor has yet to say, okay, well, we're out of time now. The later in the day it gets, the later my doctor is to my appointment. And I always give him grace, because you know what? He's in the other room, or he was in a room longer this morning or earlier before my appointment, giving the time to the patient who had questions and who needed maybe just reassurance, a shoulder to cry on. I love my doctor. And in fact, tomorrow, we'll be seeing my doctor tomorrow at 1:30 for this is my second checkup, because it's checkup number 2 after number 2 round. So we're going to see him tomorrow. And I do have a few questions because I'm getting tarry mouth again, but it's gone. Okay, I'm looking right here. um, okay, so see, people do okay. People do okay going online and stuff. There are more online communities. Um, so ER plus PR minus HER2 plus. I'm going to have to like write that down. See, that is so foreign to me because I see ER and I think emergency room minus HER2. That must be your treatment. That is so interesting. And I have a friend who's a breast cancer survivor who's coming over to teach me a new game on Friday night. I'm excited to see her. I have to say that Mitzi has to say she was grateful for YouTube peeps giving guidance on stoma care because her stoma nurse wasn't that great. And I totally agree. Estrogen positive. Okay, we're getting some interesting progesterone negative. Okay. Nanny Tam, thank you so much for coming in. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming in. We'll go ahead and go about 4 more minutes in case anybody has any questions. And would you do me a favor if you're still in the chat, you guys? Would you like to do this regularly? And I'm off right now. Would you like to do it weekly, once a month, twice a month? What would you like? Because I can do it. There will be days where maybe an hour would be about the most, but Wednesdays for the most part for me at this point are pretty darn good. Okay. Estrogen, progesterone, and HER. Okay, see, this is female cancers. Oh, bless all of you for this. It's a stinker. It's a stinker. But we're fighters, gals. We're warriors. We are warriors. So I say keep it. Keep the strength. Love and Tender says weekly. Mitzi says yes. Mitzi, yeah, I didn't put. If we want to do this regularly, I'll schedule them out so you can go in and put something on there. I think this will be. I'll get better at reading things that will go on to the podcast. I may call you Tom Garvey for some technical assistance on that. I haven't done that for a while. And okay, so see, we've got community members here already who have gone through things the same way. This is what it's all about right here. This is what it's all about, is connecting. Peggy, thank you for coming in, Peggy Fike. We love you too, Tom. Say hey to Meg's Mysteries, who I listen to way more often now because I have the time. Thank you for the well wishes for the doctor appointment tomorrow. Everybody, please say a prayer for our friend, the purring lady, who's going in for surgery on Tuesday, the 18th. Okay? Say a prayer for her, and we will see you in the next few weeks. But you're in all of our prayers. Thank you. Thank you, Derek, too, for coming in. Nyla C., thanks for coming in. Yes, cancer is ugly. And it's not a disease. You are correct. It's not contagious. She beat it. Oh, 49 years ago? That is awesome.
That is awesome.
Your mom fought for 8 years. That gives me goosebumps. You are why I love hearing these words. This is wonderful. All right, guys, I'll tell you what. I'll put us on the calendar next Wednesday. I'll put it on from 4 to 5 Pacific time, with the caveat that we could go a half hour over. We'll see how that goes. We'll see if anybody needs extra time. This is good for all of us. This is healing. And I got to tell you, I love you all. You guys have made my heart so full today. So, JJ, what are you going to say?
Right after you.
No, you say yours first.
See you later, everybody.
Be kind. Thank you all so much for being here. Very much. You have to turn it off.